If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's definitely broke. Okay guys, so this is part 2. We're gonna tear into the head a little bit and see how everything works, and see if there's any issues with the head. One thing we're gonna check is the camshaft, the bearings in there. We're gonna make sure that the cam lobes aren't damaged, and we're gonna make sure that the rocker arms move freely and that everything has good motion to it. Right away when I took the head off, I noticed, you'll probably see in the old video there, I noticed that the exhaust valve was cracked open about a 1/16 of an inch to almost an 1/8 of an inch, which is insane. So I did pull out the adjuster a little bit on that valve, and the valve did shut. However, you'll see in this video there's a little bit of an issue going on with that rocker arm for the exhaust side. So hopefully we can get that remedied and figure out how we're going to fix it. We're going to pull the head apart next. It looks like we just take this retainer cap out and then the cam should pull out. I wish I had an impact. Here's the cam. That's interesting. It would appear that this is part of the issue. So this one's, like, you can just see it move by itself. It's that free. And then our exhaust side, I can't even force it to move without using leverage or a hammer to get it pushed down. So that's kind of an issue. Alright, so that's the problem with the head. So we're gonna have to figure out how to do all that crap. You know, figure out how to pull those pins to get the rocker arm out. Probably have to get a new rocker arm and maybe pin. Hopefully not, but you never know. Hopefully they're not expensive because this engine is on the cheap. We're finally digging into the Yamaha Warrior 350 head, and it's been quite the pain in my keister. So let me show you what's been going on. So I tried using a 6mm bolt for about 5 seconds, and then I decided to drill it out to 1/4-20, and thank you, lovely helper. Decided to drill it out to 1/4-20 and tap it. This is a hardened shaft in there, so you got to be really careful tapping it, but I made this slide hammer, and as you see on the end, possibly, yeah, you can see it there, it's really bent. So that kind of worked. It moved maybe 1mm. I got this idea yesterday to try this bar here. This is a piece of bronze or brass, one of the two, with a hole drilled in it. And then I milled a flat on it so that everything stays in line, and tapped it out a little bit better to 1/4-20 again, and all it was doing was essentially snapping the bolts. 1/4-20 was not cutting it, it's too far in there. So what I decided to do was to drill out the shaft for the rocker arm. I used an F drill, which is a .257, tapped it to 5/16 18 and got a 5/16 18 bolt, drilled out our hole in our press basically here to 5/16 through hole, and then we're using a nut. Of course we're using crappy grade 5 hardware. Yeah, so our nut stripped out is all that it's been doing. However, it does look like we do have that out a lot further than it was. You're probably not going to be able to see it that close. Good news! We got our rocker out and our rocker pin. Now, this was in there something fierce, and I'm not quite sure how or why, but you can see the striations on the pin right here from it getting pressed out. I'm kind of guessing that perhaps this didn't get proper oiling. There is a hole on the top of it, but I'm not sure if that is sufficient to get oil into it, or if we have an oil pump issue or something like that, or maybe an oil passage was blocked. I don't know. But regardless, we got the rocker pin out. Here's how we ended up having to get it out. We drilled a 5/16 hole through hole, so it's slightly bigger than 5/16, and then this is about a .48 diameter hole. We used a power built 648 645. That's kind of an odd part number. This is like a steering wheel puller, and that sits in that hole there. The power built kit actually came with a 5/16 18 set of bolts. You can see that they are horribly bent and messed up, and I'm gonna have to buy a whole new set of these bolts for the owner of the kit. Sorry, we did end up breaking one of the bolts. All in all, we got it out, and that's what we came here to do. We used a lot of Smith & Wesson dry lube. We used a lot of PB Blaster, which is awesome stuff. Hammers. I just have a huge mess to pick up now, but basically this bar here is what helped us the most. That being said, this is an incredibly stupid design on Yamaha's part, but they're engineers and I'm not, so what do I know? However, we were able to get this finished. She's a camera person and she's holding the camera crooked to this side. There we go. She's a giggling, but you can't hear her because the microphone's facing me. And now we can try and take this apart further and get the valves out and make sure the valves aren't bent, and maybe lap the valve seats and stuff like that. Stay tuned for the reassembly of this engine. If you have suggestions of what you think I should put this motor in instead of a quad, let me know. If not, then you don't have to comment, I guess. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.